Welcome to Leo's Super Bowl in Amesbury, Massachusetts. This is the Pro Series Kids Pros Doubles Tournament, and this is the first round of match play. In this tournament, the kids and the pros go through a 3-string qualifying round, and after that they are paired up with one of the kids is paired up with one of the pros, and they go through 5 rounds of bracket elimination match play. And we've got 2 exciting matchups here in the first round. On lanes 21 and 22, the team of Colleen Dumas and Mike Legendre is facing Becky Halbedel and Shawn Baker. And over on lanes 23 and 24, Bryenna Smith and Rob Taylor are facing Jacob Robicheau and Andrew Maderios. And there is a strike in the second box for Becky Halbedel. Let's take a look at this in slow motion. Kind of a medium wall shot, and it looks like a 9-drop, but there's a lot of activity in the middle of the lane, and one of these pieces of wood rolls over and takes out the 7-pin. So that is a strike for Becky Halbedel out of Bogey Lanes in East Brookfield, Massachusetts. They have a very active junior program there at Bogey. Colleen Dumas with a 9, and you probably recognize both of these bowlers from the Candlepin New Generation show that they have been regulars on for several years now. Meanwhile, over on the right side, Bryenna Smith and Jacob Robicheau are getting underway. Becky Halbedel working on that strike, leaving 1, 2, 8, and she's got a spare on strike. Colleen Dumas looking at the 4, 7, 10. Some couple pieces of wood, and she uses it to perfection right there. Great shot for the spare by Colleen. Solid 1-2 pocket hit by Bryenna on lane 23. Not much to show for it. She's got the 6, 7, and 9. And Jacob also hitting the head pin, but getting a tough split out of that. And he makes a nice try to work it out. Becky will not quite have 3 marks in a row. Nice bid on the 1, 2, 5, but wasn't able to get the 5. Her opponent, Colleen Dumas, does pick up a spare. This Kids Pros tournament is always one of the most fun events on the Pro Series schedule. It's always a good time. The kids and the parents and the pros all enjoy coming to this event. Jacob Robicheau looking at 4, 7, doesn't quite make it. And Colleen Dumas just kind of got robbed there. She had the 1, 4, and 7, and she hit it almost perfectly, but the 4-pin went right around or in front of the 7. I'm not quite sure, so she'll be open, as will Becky Halbedel, but they'll both pick up 10 boxes. Both bowlers off to a great start in that match. Colleen Dumas with a 64 half and Becky Halbedel with 66. So they're both off to a flying start as they turn things over to their partners, Mike Legendre and Shawn Baker. Shawn Baker is undoubtedly familiar to most of you because he's pretty much a regular in match play and TV competition over the past few years. Mike Legendre has also made a number of appearances in Pro Series and TV competition. Mike bowls out of Fico's in Franklin, and Shawn is out of Lucky Strike in Lynn, Massachusetts. Shawn Baker looking at the 5-pin, and Mike Legendre also dropping 9. He missed the head pin, but got a nice break, and he's left with just the head pin by itself to try and match the spare by Shawn Baker. Jacob Robicheau recorded a spare, and he's got an 8-drop, looking for another one. He's got the 7 and 8 with some wood. Meanwhile, Bryenna Smith also with an 8-drop, but she's got the 4 and 10. And a great shot by Bryenna right there to convert that 4-10. Here's another look at it. This is just perfect. the ball catches both the 4-pin and that piece of wood and sends the wood right over into the 10. That's a great shot right there by Bryenna Smith. And Bryenna and Jacob will turn things over to their partners Rob Taylor and Andrew Maderios, as Mike Legendre throws a strong strike right there on lane 21. Let's take another look at this. Solid 1-3 pocket high flush. Absolutely no question about that for Mike Legendre. That was a hammer. And bowling against Shawn Baker, he knows very well that Shawn's not going to give him any room to maneuver, so he's got to bring his A game. Rob Taylor looking at the 1-3, and he's got it. Spare to begin. Mike Legendre will put a 9 fill on that strike. He and Shawn will both be open in this box. We have 10 for Mike. Rob Taylor will put a 6 fill on the spare. Rob is undoubtedly known to most of you as the voice of Candlepin New Generation, and really the prime mover behind that show the last couple of years. He's really a dynamo of activity, organizing the show, the tournament, the roll-off to get in, doing the promotional skits and announcing the show itself. He just kind of does everything. And he's also a surprisingly good bowler himself. He doesn't really take that high a profile, but he's really an exceptional bowler in his own right. He's had some good results in Pro Series competition. And Rob with an 8 drop. Meanwhile, you can see Shawn Baker and Mike Legendre really going at it. They're both living up to the pace that their partners set. And Rob Taylor with a backdoor spare there. He had the 2 and 7. Didn't hit the 2 pin, but he caught a piece of wood, and the ball came back and took out both the 7 and the 2. Shawn Baker with another spare, and Mike Legendre also with a spare. So there's really fast-paced action. And here's a look at the spare by Rob Taylor. The ball comes back, hits the 7 pin, and then it hits that piece of wood into the 2 pin. So that is not exactly the way Rob played it, but it's a spare on the scoreboard. And as you can see, Colleen, Dumas, and Mike Legendre are leading Becky Halbedel and Shawn Baker by 6 pins through halfway through their match. Really high-scoring match there on 21 and 22. Meanwhile, Rob Taylor and Andrew Maderios are still up. And there is strike on spare by Rob Taylor. That one did not require any backdoor foolishness at all. That was just solid 1-2 pocket. Very, very solid shot right there by Rob Taylor. Meanwhile, Becky Halbedel and Colleen Dumas switch lanes, and they resume their string on 21 and 22. Colleen Dumas looking at the notorious Caleri. Right side, and she's got it. She converts the Caleri 1, 3, 6, 8, 10. Here's another look at it. The head pin goes to the sidewall and takes out the 3. Meanwhile, the 8 pin is kicked off of that wood behind it, and it was actually the 8 pin that comes around to take out the 6 and 10. And possibly the 3 as well, I'm not sure. Or actually, I think the head pin came off the wall to take the 3. And Rob Taylor with another strike. This one does take some backdoor action, although he hit the head pin pretty solid. Looked like he was going to leave the 2, 4, and 8, but the The 8-pin fell into the 4, into the 2, so it's another strike by Rob Taylor. Here's another look at it. You'll see the head pin comes to the sidewall, and it kind of plows into the 4 and 8, and it's unclear as to whether they're going to fall. But the 8-pin goes back into the 4, which goes into the 2, and that is a double strike for Rob Taylor. So halfway through this match, Bryenna Smith and Rob Taylor lead by 19 with, well, essentially with the double strike by Rob Taylor, because Bryenna Smith and Andrew Maderios both have spares. So the difference is going to be 19 plus the fill. So that means that Jacob Robicheau and Andrew Maderios really have their work cut out for them going into the second half of this match. Big lead to deficit to overcome, put up on the board by Bryenna Smith and Rob Taylor. But anything can happen in these one-string matches. And all of the bowlers have shown that they can put some marks on the board in a hurry. There's a great shot by Jacob Robicheau, converting that 1-2-10 split. Let's have a look in slow motion. The head pin goes directly into the 10 pin. That's just a perfect shot right there. Meanwhile, Colleen Dumas has the Caleri on the other side, the 1-2-4-7-9, while Becky Halbedel with a 9 drop on the left wing, leaving the 7 pin with a couple pieces of wood to negotiate. And Colleen almost makes the Caleri on the other side. That would, 2 Caleri conversions in one string would be asking a lot, but she almost did it. Meanwhile, Jacob Robicheau with a strike there, strike on spare. That is very timely to cut into that lead. It looked like a 9 drop, but that 2 pin, here's another look at it. Head pin comes off the wall, and it must have just brushed the 2 pin as it went by. 2 pin took a while to go, but it does go down, as you will see. Jacob looks back just in time to see the 2 pin go down. That's a very important strike on spare right there for Jacob Robicheau. Colleen Dumas with a 9 drop, and Becky Halbedel with a 7 drop, and a tough split there. She's got 4, 5, and 9. A piece of wood that might be helpful. Colleen with the spare, and Becky not able to figure out a way to get the 4, 5, 9. So she's still got the 5 and 9. And they're still standing, so that'll be an 8 box. Meanwhile, Jacob Robicheau gave it a nice try, tried to get his 3rd mark in a row. Not quite able to get the 10 pin to go. Colleen Dumas with a 5 fill. And Becky once again hits the 1-2 pocket and has the ball get deflected around that 4-7. That does not happen very often, but a couple of tough breaks there in consecutive boxes. She's just going to have to work it out. She does take out the 3-5. And meanwhile, you have a look at this spare by Bryenna Smith. She gets really makes a nice shot on the 1-2-7-9. Fills it with 4. So she's going to be looking at the entire right side. 1, 3, 5, 6, 9, 10. And she makes it a great shot right there. That is a very, very difficult leave when you just take out that left side. The tough part of that is carrying a 5 pin usually. Or if you hit it full, you sometimes don't carry the corner pin. But she carried everything there. It was a perfect shot. And here's another look at the spare by Bryenna Smith. Just a perfect shot right there. So she will have one more ball to go. And we'll give you a look at the scoreboard when we have a minute. That's it. 8th fill. So that's a nice finish right there with the 2 marks. Kind of after getting off to a slow start, Bryenna Smith comes up with a big finish in the last 2 boxes to pull out a 103 game. And Jacob will finish with a 4 fill on the spare. And over on 21 and 22, Shawn Baker and Mike Legendre are back up to finish their match. So here's a look at the match on the right pair. Bryenna Smith and Rob Taylor are leading by 8, with Rob Taylor still having that double strike to fill against the spare for Andrew Maderios. So that's a pretty tall task for Andrew to make up that margin. In the other match, Colleen, Dumas, and Mike Legendre are leading by 7 with 4 boxes to go. So that one is very much anybody's game at this point. Mike Legendre on lane 22. He's looking at the 4 horsemen left side, and Rob Taylor coming up, working on that double strike, hits the head pin, but he gets too much of it and punches out the 1-5. And meanwhile, Andrew Maderios, with almost the same hit, very full on the head pin, but he got a splash and got a strike out of it. So that's a pretty good turnaround right there. Strike on spare for Andrew Maderios. And Rob Taylor does well to put a 6 fill on the second strike after punching the 1-5. And he will, well, it's going to be a 9 box. So that's, he only got 2 on the double strike and 6 on the second strike. So that is going to reduce the margin in this match. Andrew Maderios working on that strike. He goes to the left side. Mike Legendre with a spare. Shawn Baker is looking at 1, 2, 4, and 10. Wow, and he hit it almost perfectly, but that piece of wood, I think, prevented the head pin from taking out the 10. So he will be open. And that'll be a 9 box. The ball grazed the piece of wood in the gutter. So looking at this match, or actually the match on the right side, Jacob Robicheau and Andrew Maderios now lead that match by 4. That is a big turnaround, thanks to those big fills by Andrew Maderios. The spare strike 9 fill. So they now lead by 4 pins. So both of these matches are anybody's game as we come right down to the end. Mike Legendre filling that spare with just 3. A little disappointing there, but that does close the gap a little bit. Meanwhile, Shawn Baker with the half Worcester on the left side. Wow, Shawn Baker with the spare. He took that half Worcester right down in a hurry. And Rob Taylor picked up 3 pins with a 9 against the 6 box for Andrew Maderios. So that is now a 1-pin match as we look at the spare by Shawn Baker in slow motion on the half Worcester. That was like throwing a hammer with the second ball. That was really solid shot right there. So that makes it a 5-pin lead for Colleen, Dumas, and Mike Legendre, minus the fill that Shawn Baker is about to throw. Meanwhile, Robicheau and Maderios lead by 1, but Rob Taylor throws a strike, and that is clutch right there. That is a very, very timely shot by Rob Taylor. So going down into the last box, Shawn Baker, and that's a strike. He went right to the nose, but he got a splash. So that's going to give them a 5-pin lead. And a great spare by Mike Legendre. They're just going at it like a couple of heavyweights right now in a 15-rounder. But Mike Legendre, trailing by 5 with 1 ball to go as we look at the replay, he's going to need to probably put 10 on this just to have a chance, since Shawn Baker has 2 balls to go. And Halbedel and Baker lead by 5 with the strike fill against the spare fill by Mike Legendre. And Mike only gets 5, so that means that Shawn Baker just has to keep the ball on the lane to win. But this match went right down to the wire. Both of these have been great matches. And Rob Taylor puts a 9 on the strike. That gives him a 9-pin lead, which means that Andrew Maderios must make this spare. Is it going to go? Not quite. And he can't believe it, because he really hit that well. That was a solid shot by Andrew Maderios, but it does not go. So the win will go to Bryenna Smith and Rob Taylor. Andrew will finish out, and we'll show you the scores in just a moment. Great bowling here in both of these matches by all 8 bowlers. Everybody, they all show that they can put some marks up there. In the left side match, Becky Halbedel and Shawn Baker, as you can see, with a 273 to sneak out a 10-pin victory over Colleen, Dumas, and Mike Legendre, who put up an excellent 263 score. All 4 bowlers really bringing their A game. And in the other match, also a 10-pin victory by Bryenna Smith with that 2-mark finish for the 103 game, and Rob Taylor's 140 to get 243 versus Jacob and Andrew with 233. So this is this is a great way to start off this match play portion of the Kids Pros tournament. We will be back with some second round action later this weekend.